Good morning. It is Thursday, April 23rd, and the title of this morning's devotional is Staying Close to the Lord. The writer here references Romans 12, 1 and 2, and I would like to read Hebrews 12, 1 and 2. Hebrews 12, verse 1, Wherefore, seeing we are so compassed about with such a great cloud of witness, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which does so easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us, looking unto Jesus, the author and the finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of God. In this passage here, we see that he has the illustration of running a race, and we've been talking about that through these devotionals, running the race. And here he says, if you're going to run a race, lay aside every weight. So there's things that weight us down, and you know that. There are things that weight you down in life, things that you know that just need to be eliminated. There's a problem, though. We can know it here, but have a hard time implementing it. And this is why. I was shown this years ago. It was a box, and that box was divided into 4 quadrants. And what you had was the unimportant, the important, the urgent, and the unurgent. And what happened was you found out that we spend a lot of our times in the unimportant but the urgent, things that have to be handled right now, and they crowd out the stuff that's truly important. There was a blog I was on, and the gal wrote a list of things she called faith squeezers. And she said, number 1, going gangbusters on family activities. Number 2, getting caught up with incidentals. Number 3, becoming wrapped up in another person. Number 4, planting my face on TV, i.e. Netflix, the phone, the iPad. Number 5, driving like a routine robot on a schedule. Number 6, expecting things to happen. Number 7, getting frustrated when they don't. Number 8, allowing anxiety to seep in as a result. And number 9, letting the monotony of life make me monotonous. Does that sound familiar? This is allowing those weighty things of life, the things that keep you from moving forward, the urgent but the unimportant, to take precedence in your life. The next thing we see that the writer of Hebrews says, he says, lay aside every sin. So there are things that we can get involved in that are not necessarily bad, but they don't move us forward to where we need to be, in particular for the things that are very important and have eternal value. But then there's also these sins that come in here. Now, it's obvious that God can't use us when there's sin in our lives. That's the most obvious part. We see that the enemy has control, and our witness is shot. But what we don't see is that this thing puts us in a cycle. And so we'll sin, and that sin will result in guilt, and that guilt will result in penance. We'll beat ourselves up. That will result in distance. We'll distance ourselves, and then we'll stay away for a while, and then we'll re-engage. And we'll continue in this cycle. And so here we see the author saying, just lay aside all of those sins. And then he encourages us to run the race set before us. So to stay in our lanes. We live in a world today where it seems like people, they don't really know what they should be doing. And because they don't know what they should be doing, they try to do everything, hoping something will bring fulfillment. I remember when I was a kid and we were doing stuff like this out here at Rafa Ranch. You know, we're doing fence work, and I'm working with our builder, Ryan Buddha, on this. And good man, if you got church work you need done, have him do it. But when I used to work with my dad, we always had a crescent wrench. And it was amazing what this thing could do. You could adjust it and use it to take off a nut. If you needed to bang on something, you could bang on it. He used it as a lever. He used it for all kinds of things. Well, later on in life, I realized that they have a fence tool. And so it is a hammer on this side, and it pulls staples on this side, and it'll cut wire here, and it's a crimper here. It does all kinds of things. And this is kind of what we try to do in our lives, is we try to be something that does just a little bit of everything. The problem is, you can see this thing is almost brand new looking. Even though it does almost everything, it doesn't do anything well. And so when we try to do everything in our lives, when we don't stay in our lane, we actually pretend like we're God, like we're in control of everything. And that's not how God created us. God created us to be a part of the body of Christ. I'm working with Ryan Buddha on this, and so we're working together. And so you're welcome to come out and work too. And what we need to find out is, what are our gifts? How has God gifted us? What are our burdens when we look at the world? What burden do we have? And what are the experiences that God's allowed us to have, good or bad, that can contribute to helping serve God? That we can be really a part of that box at the diagonal that deals with the truly important things that may not seem urgent but have eternal value. Lastly, we see here that the writer of Hebrews says, focusing on Jesus, the author and the finisher. And so we see that we need to keep our eyes on the prize. This makes sense. When you're running a race, you want to keep the end in focus. You see that James 4:8 says, draw nigh unto God, and he will draw nigh unto you. John 15 talks about abiding in Christ. I want to encourage you to stay close to your Lord. And how you do that is, you might need to do some spring cleaning in your life. You might need to get rid of some things that just are cluttering up your lives. You need to lay aside every sin. We need to stay in our lane and find out how God has crafted us and made us, and then we need to always keep our eyes on Jesus. Doing these morning devotionals will help us to do that, to start off the day with the right focus. May God bless you, and may you just have a wonderful, wonderful Thursday.